The Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker teaser trailer debuted just yesterday over at Star Wars Celebration, and it left a lot of people talking about what's really going on for the final installment of the sequel trilogy in the entire Skywalker saga by J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of people are really interested in is, of course, one of the climactic sequences within the actual teaser trailer itself, which is when we actually get a little glimpse of the Death Star wreckage all the way in the background in the distance on an unknown world where you really do see large waves pretty much crashing down on the land and on the surface of this unknown world and or moon. We're not quite sure exactly where this is. It could be another side of Endor. It could be one of the moons of the planet Endor. But one thing that we do know, alright, that J.J. Abrams is actually trying to do with this movie is that he's using a lot of original trilogy continuity as well as prequel trilogy continuity to really tie it all together. Now, I wanted to go over something very intriguing about J.J. Abrams and, of course, The Rise of Skywalker, as well as how the Death Star will be incorporated into this movie. Now, we still don't have the full story as of yet, but we do actually know a couple of things about as to why the Death Star wreckage is actually there in the background. Now, what's really intriguing is that it's discovered that J.J. Abrams wanted to bring a return of the iconic Death Star in the final installment of the sequel trilogy. However, not just for shock and awe, but how it connects to multiple aspects of the story. It's described that the Death Star 2 technology will be inherited by the First Order in the film, essentially confirming that the Death Star seen in, of course, the teaser trailer is indeed the second one. Another is that the Death Star is a part of the evolving MacGuffin, which, by the way, is a plot device that moves the story forward through some of the characters, and is a piece of the puzzle of the ultimate revelation at the end of the film. It said that JJ was inspired to do this visually from what he did in The Force Awakens teaser 2, showing off a downed Star Destroyer in the distance on Jakku. JJ hasn't confirmed that, of course, this is based on the forest moon of Endor or not. However, since Endor has 8% water, it's very likely. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this. Now, I believe that this does connect to what we have been talking about for a very long time now, about these super weapons being a part of Episode 9 called the First Order Annihilators. Now, the Annihilators are actually going to be based off of the world Devastators from, of course, the expanded universe, except, they're going to have some design differences and stuff like that, and they're able to do different things. Now, what's interesting, though, is that the Annihilators are actually said to carry Death Star 2 technology in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Hence, that Death Star that we do see in the teaser trailer most definitely has got to be the Death Star 2. Also, it makes sense because we do in fact actually see in the original art book of The Force Awakens that Rey originally was supposed to dive down below the ocean and discover the throne room of Emperor Palpatine on board of the Death Star 2. And by the way, originally that's how she was going to find the map of Luke Skywalker and the Ancient Jedi, in case you guys did not know. Originally, the map of Luke Skywalker and the First Jedi Temple was stored within the Death Star 2 itself within Palpatine's throne room. So we could see something very similar in a sense of what's going to happen here, of course, in Episode 9, where Rey dives down there into the ocean and goes into the Death Star 2 and discovers something very interesting that is indeed going to be a big connection to the MacGuffin in the story. Now, about the MacGuffin, we do know that it is going to evolve constantly from start to finish of this movie. We're not quite sure exactly what it really is, if it's a person, place, or thing, or whatever kind of object it's going to be in this movie. Nonetheless, that actual plot device is going to evolve constantly from start to finish and will always change. Pretty much, capturing the viewer and, of course, the audience to keep on watching this movie, and it's going to create this very specific type of flow to the actual film. So what's really interesting as well by J.J. Abrams is that he actually wanted to do this because he wanted to capture something very awe-inspiring, similar to what we got in the second teaser trailer of The Force Awakens, where we do see a very large Star Destroyer in the background, pretty much almost faded, just like the Death Star 2 wreckage. You can really see how J.J. Abrams likes to really tap into what he has already done with The Force Awakens, as well as abandoned concepts that never made it to Episode 7, that are now reappearing in, of course, Episode 9, which I honestly think is great. So that means that basically, if you guys go ahead and check out, the art book of course, The Force Awakens, you can see exactly what the idea may very well be for, of course, the Death Star 2 being an actual part of Star Wars Episode 9's plot. So that's the thing that really does interest me the most, is how the First Order inherits, alright, the actual Death Star 2 technology in this movie in order to power the First Order Annihilators. And I think that what JJ's trying to do is that he's really trying to reshape the way that we look at the Skywalker saga, and that's what he will be doing by revisiting elements of the originals and the prequels in, of course, Star Wars Episode 9. I think that when we look at this, guys, the thing that I do want to bring up as well is that Rey, Poe, and Finn are on a specific adventure, and how they come across the Death Star 2, it's going to be very interesting to see exactly how they all react to what that really is. Does Rey know what it is? Does Poe or Finn know what that is? That's a big question indeed. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.